In this video, I'm going to show you how to input the cost data for the 5 hourly value streams, mostly using data from Cambium. On this C2 cost data tab, I see that there are the 5 hourly value streams and one column for each of the years, the 8 years of hourly data. If these values did not match the ones that were input before, I would just need to go to Formulas Calculate Sheet to update. So next I have to go to Cambium and find the cost data for these value streams. From the Cambium Scenario Downloader, I'm going to choose Cambium 2020, Download, and then I'm interested in the low wind cost hourly by state. So I download this data set. It's rather big, so it takes a while to load. So I'm just going to show what comes out of it, which is one file per state per year. I'll scroll down to Texas 2020 because that is the first year that I was in the analysis. Here's what it looks like. There's 8760 rows with a whole bunch of different columns. I'm going to start with avoided electric energy. And I know from the Cambium documentation and the calculator user guide that the column I'm looking for is called energy cost bus bar. Energy cost bus bar, which is right here. So I'm just going to take this data, copy it, come over here, edit, paste special to do only the values, and paste in those values. I do the same thing for the other 7 years, but I'm not going to show you that because it's the same. Next, I'm going to work on deferred generation and transmission costs. In the general parameters tab, I disabled the deferred transmission and decided to include generation and transmission under generation. So I will select generation, and I know from the Cambium documentation and the calculator user guide that this data will be in a column called capacity cost bus bar, which is right here. It sort of looks like there's a bunch of missing data here because it's all these zeros, but that's actually not surprising because there are only 40 hours that have non-zero values, and so don't worry if you only see zeros. So I'll do the same thing, copy and paste over to here, remembering to do paste special. Now the other 2 hourly value streams require a little bit of pre-processing before they can be input into the calculator. First, I'm going to work on avoided CO2 emissions. And Cambium offers several different types of emissions in kilograms per megawatt hour, but the calculator requires dollars per megawatt hour, and so we need to do a conversion. Luckily, we made an auxiliary workbook that comes with the calculator package that will convert emissions to dollars. So I've decided that of the Cambium emissions possibilities, I'm interested in the one called Co2 SR. So I'm going to take these emissions and paste them into the auxiliary workbook, the emissions to dollars tab. Do the same thing as before, paste special, and fill in all of the 7 years. Now I see that I need a cost per ton. In this case, I've used the social cost of carbon from a White House document, which is listed in the user guide. And the first year, the value is 51. And so once I fill in all of these hourly streams and then all the annual costs, I can go to Formula, Calculate Sheet, and these cells will populate. I can then copy these hourly costs, go to the calculator, and remembering to paste special, add these new costs in. And then the hardest of the hourly value streams is the deferred distribution cost, since it's not included in Cambium or any other national data source. The user guide has some suggestions for where to find values, but in any case, when you do find a cost for distribution system costs, it's often annual instead of hourly. So there's another tab, or actually 2 other tabs in the auxiliary workbook to help convert those hourly costs to annual. They both require a normalized system load shape. So that means that it's the electricity system load shape hourly by year, where the value of the highest hour is converted to 1 and all the others are a percentage of that. So Cambium does provide the electric system load shape. So what I'm going to do is go back to Cambium and find net load bus bar. And this is the system load. Copy that. Now this sheet is asking for a normalized load shape. So I'm going to go to normalization tab and paste in my unnormalized shape. If I calculate sheet, then it will update, and I can take this normalized shape back and paste it over here. And then I just need the annual deferred capacity cost. This sheet will distribute the annual cost across the hours, the top X hours of the system load when you get to determine what X is. Typically, if people use 40, which is what's here, but you can choose a different number if you want. This second sheet, annual to hourly costs seasonal, is the same principle as the other one. You still need your normalized load shape. You still input annual capacity costs, but in this case, you split out summer and winter. You can divide. You determine which months count as summer and winter, and then you input how many of the top summer hours and how many of the top winter hours the costs should be spread across. So regardless of which method that you use, you can take once you've hit calculate sheet, you can copy these values into the calculator.